Today we're going to go over a new metal guitar VST from Native Instruments called Electric Storm. Before we dive in, let's hear what it sounds like. So these plugins are great for anybody who doesn't play guitar but wants to write music either for themselves or write for their band. For instance, the drummer in my band Structures, he's really good at dictating like what kind of riffs or coming up with ideas. So for him, since he doesn't play guitar, this would be a good idea because he can just like write riffs and then send it to us and we can actually like play them on guitar. Or if you are a guitar player and you're say at the airport or you're somewhere where you don't have your guitar but you want to write, it's a great idea to just be able to do this. It's cool because the instrument goes down to drop C. I think it's drop C1. So at any point, just let me know down below what you think of this plugin because I'm sure Native Instruments will be watching this. They sent me the plugin to make videos with. So this isn't really a review, it's just an overview because if I did a review, there'd be people saying, "You're a shill, get out of here, you're a shill." So I'm not gonna do that. Just let me know down below because I have some notes and I have some things that I would like them to improve in a future update. If you have some stuff that you want them to update, let me know down below. So real quick, if you've never used this kind of plugin, what you have to do is basically tell the guitar if it's going to be an open, palm mute, whatever fangalette is. I believe it's an octave up or like tremolo. Those are the 4 options that we get with this plugin. And then let me just start with that. So since it's an 8 string and it's tuned low, as metalheads, we're gonna tune as low as we can. We'll take this open note, and then we have open, we have palm muted, we have fangalette, which I believe is just an octave up, and then we have tremolo. So it doesn't show anywhere on here, but if you go to A sharp, or I guess B flat, that would be a stop. And if you change the velocity, that will really change the way that the stop interacts with the note. That alone is really cool because it allows us to do like the Djent guitar techniques, which are like the it's like when you chug but you use your left hand to stop it as well and create almost like a double chug. I did that in the demo riff, so let's go back to that so you can hear it. Aside from stop, we have slide down. So if you want to get a more accurate, like, slide up, we can do that. And the lower the velocity, the longer that slide will be, the higher the velocity, the shorter it will be. And then if we go down one note, That'll be our slide up. Same thing. The higher the velocity, the quicker it does it. And the lower the velocity, the longer it takes. Then we also can have that tremolo going on the second half or something. What's really cool about this specific plugin that I don't really know too many guitar VSTs. I've tried a few and not been impressed, so I didn't do any videos on them. There's something really cool in here where they have like pre-recorded kind of patterns and riffs. When we get to E1, we can start using these patterns, and they're pre-built, and we can obviously switch them out and do whatever we want with them. So we can either just go to the next one by doing that, or we can go into our search bar here. Just by pressing it, you'll get a demo of what it sounds like. So there's tons of options. There's open, muted, mixed, or we can go from like strum, arpeggio, or riff. So if you want to come up with a riff or just start with one and then program drums. So let's say we're going to use that one. So let's just hit that. So I guess you do want to make sure that the MIDI note is as long as you want it to be going on, because it'll stop as soon as you stop that. So now we can just switch stuff out. So F1, let's click here, let's find something cool. Let's go with more of a riff. So we can go into riffs here. Crazy. They even have harmonics and all that stuff built in. I don't know how they're doing it under the hood, and I kind of don't want to know because it's cool and scary. Extend this C note out, and let's try all of them in a row. And I think you can like have it start depending on... Okay, so no, so I would have to go in here. So I guess by the sounds of it, as soon as this is triggered, this either any of these patterns, it will play the whole thing through. Because what I wanted to do was have it start every time that I trigger it with a note, but I guess it just plays the whole thing through. So that kind of sucks. Okay, well now we know the limitations. It would be nice in a firmware update if you could have the riff restart every time you re-trigger it. That kind of seems like a no-brainer to me, but I guess like there's a lot going on in here, so... Once you have your patterns sorted out and you have the ones that you like, you can go to the playback mode and adjust the timing and performance and swing and humanization of it. Just a cool way to get a little bit more realism. I don't even know how they went about and made these, because it's a genius idea in my opinion. Especially for those who don't play guitar and just want to get riffs out. It's really cool. We can just take this MIDI section right here and just drag and drop it. So by clicking this right here and dragging it in, we now have this part. And that's really cool because if you're not a guitar player and you don't really understand like guitar playing techniques, or you have like a vague understanding of it, all you really have to do is browse the whole search menu and find something that you like and drag and drop it, and then you can change the notes if you want. I maybe should have used that more when I wrote the song. I actually just tried to write it exactly as a guitar player would, as opposed to dragging and dropping. Hindsight though. String scrapes and stuff like that. Under here, if we go to effects, and to be honest, I'm not sure exactly how you would do it, but it seems like you can actually record your own rhythms. What's also cool is that built in, it has a doubling effect. So if you want, you can copy and paste and like slightly change the DIs to make it a little bit more real, or just by having the doubling on. we now get the stereo width, which is really cool, saves your CPU from having to load 2 of these instances. Then we can also change to both pickups. Or we can do just the neck. Which is nice if you're programming some sort of like sweeping thing or a guitar solo that's on the neck pickup. It's cool to have the option of both. I think a lot of other VSTs have that too. I've actually muted all the amps because I found that I could get a better result by only using the DI guitar. I found to get the most tone out of it, I actually used the for Nameless and just for the grind pedal. And then I also ran into, as always, the Auto Audio 1111. And that's our raw DI. We can really hone in on the volume of the DI as well as the tone coming out of it. So really muddy, really like djenty, I guess. They recorded the guitar with a mic on the strings. So not only do you have the DI, but you also have the mic. Especially for cleans, this could be cool. I noticed when running through an amp sim, it got pretty weird pretty quickly, so I just took it out. Let's try some of the amps. So we have 2 options. We can run 2 amps at once. And there's a few options for amps. Oopsie. Oh, can't undo. The annoying part is there's no undo, as far as I've seen. File. No undo. That's kind of the hard part to deal with, to be honest. Because there's been a few times where I've messed something up and then I couldn't go back and undo it. If you click here, we can see more of the amps. Let me make this bigger. Oh no. We have a hot solo, whatever that is. I guess more for crunch tones. And you know, I don't have to go through all of them, but you can see there's quite a few options. Anyways, you can run that through 2 different amps, 2 different chains. And then I can turn that mic chain on again. Let's turn the amps off. Super strange. I guess if I'm playing something more notey. And that's basically them putting the mic right to the guitar while you're playing it. So what I did earlier, depending on the part, I automated the muted notes kind of length so that for the heavy chugs, they're nice and long. We can automate whatever we want, especially in Ableton. It makes it really easy. If I just press A and then I just choose whatever I want to automate, it will show me on my mapping there. We also have different noise options just to add some little bit of realism to the guitars and stuff like that. So now let's go through the effects section with these lead guitars. So as you can see, we have our main chain here. I turned everything off and let's turn it on one by one. So I have a plate reverb. So important to note is that we could also put these on the amp chain. All you have to do is click where you want it and then choose whatever effect. They have it all really well detailed in there. I believe I had this actually off, and then I put the replica delay. Just like a small ping pong delay. We can choose the type. Let me put it a little bit more mixed in so we can really hear it. It's nice to have this because a lot of the other guitar VSTs that I've seen, it's kind of like, this is your amp 1, this is your amp 2, this is your amp 3, and that's it. Whereas here we can really choose things and we can get creative and we can add effects and stuff like that. It's really competitively priced as well right now. I think it's $129, which of all the guitar VSTs I've seen, the top ones that are good, it's the cheapest. Then we have the choral. This is my favorite. Really good for like nu metal leads. Then we have a filter. We can obviously do the filtering after, but to have it all in the box, that's pretty cool. We have our different vibrato here. It's cool to see that there's different options, like there's like a whammy bar kind of one, and there's also like using your finger to vibrato. Cool to see that option. We also have in the bend section, we can have it so that you can choose what notes get bended, whether they're all notes get bended, or if you're doing, say, like what they call the boomer bend, only the lowest one will get bended. So let's try that. Bent. I'm not good at grammar. So we can either just draw it in using this, and like if we have automation on, I think it'll copy. Or if you want and you're more comfortable, you can just come in here and bend it. And as you can see, it's only doing the lowest one. This one will only do the highest one. Trippy. Or we can do all. Or we can do only the loudest or the quietest. It's cool to see this much flexibility in a guitar VST. I think a lot of the other VSTs could probably take a note out of this one. Another cool thing to keep in mind is that there's different sound presets. So on this guitar track right here, let's change to, I don't know, a clean ballad. Let me go to chords. So many different options. Crunch. High gain. Let's turn all these off. It would also be nice if there was like a quick way to like double press and turn something on or off. I don't like to have to click it and then click the on button. It's kind of annoying. I think the pros with this plugin and with these kinds of plugins in general are more so the concept. I don't think that I've personally heard a guitar VST that sounds like 100% real, especially like for metal, especially for these kind of like heavy chugs. Especially with those like typical one open chords known for like deathcore and modern metalcore heavy music. I haven't heard a guitar VST that's done that right yet, and I think it's because that's a really hard thing to ask, because it's one thing to sample those notes and put them together after the fact, and it's another thing to actually record it with that blend. I think that it's going to be a long way before we get something that actually does those one open chords really well. I think the pros when it comes to this plugin specifically, the Electric Storm, are all of the amp options that we get and all of the effects. None of the other VSTs that I know of have this like deep of an like effects library. Having these patterns, I think, makes this plugin stand out from all the other ones. And obviously you can do what I did to get the most out of the guitar and turn off the amp and just run whatever amp sims you have. But I imagine that a fair amount of people don't have like amp sim plugins and are going to be relying on the tones that they get directly from this plugin. So I think it's really cool. I think there's parts that like obviously sound fake, like this metalcore section. If you play guitar, or if you know what a guitar sounds like, you're gonna be like, obviously that sounds fake, and it does. And I don't really use these often, so maybe there's some tricks that people can be using to make it sound a little bit more real. I do highly, highly doubt it though. None of the guitar VSTs I've tried have sounded 100% real, but that's not the point. The point is you can be creative and you can write songs for your band, for yourself, and then send them to either your band or send them to session musicians to actually record it. And if you don't have the money for that, you can totally put this out and put in the effort to learn how to program them correctly. I don't fully know how to get the most out of these, admittedly. I will link a channel, I think his name is Chris Badan. He's really good at getting like realism out of MIDI guitars. I'll link one of his videos down below. The only con I'd say is that it doesn't fully sound real and none of them sound real. And like I said, that con is doesn't really matter because that's not the point. It's not really the point. Electric drums, like programmed drums, don't really sound real. You can get away with them, but you can tell when they're fake. And it doesn't matter because all that matters is what you create with it. So thank you so much for watching. If you found this useful at all, like, I don't know. I'm not exactly sure what to say. Nothing else here. I'll see you in the next one. Don't unsubscribe.